All right, we're just now loading into the match here. Uh, it turns out the other coach's mentor is going to join me, Tweedlebum, if anybody knows him. So this should be a lot of fun. Hope everybody's having a good night. Gonna try and give some useful information to both these college coaches. This is live. This is live. Let me unmute Discord and unmute Blood Bowl. Let me turn on that. Yeah, how you doing, Poikus? Nice to see you. My mentee is King Kex. Tweedlebum's mentee is Anki, the cat.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Tweedlebum. I don't think I've had the pleasure of casting with you yet.
Well, I haven't done a whole lot of casting since college, so I cast my own games, and that's pretty much it. So
I've seen you stream a good bit, though. Nice to have
good.
you on. I'm excited. This is both of our mentees' first college game, and I'm hoping to give some good advice. We had a nice throw rock to start off with. Are you looking in the client, or do you need me to stream it too?
I am pulling the client up as we speak, so I will see it in just a moment.
Wonderful, wonderful. You know, I started casting some mentee games near the end of my first mentee's last few games, and I felt like I did a lot better at explaining concepts live and then having questions asked later. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Plus, it'll keep me in good casting shape for when playoffs start rolling around in quite a few months. Can everyone hear Tweedle okay? Do I need to adjust his volumes? I think that I've managed to not have my guest muted for the first time ever.
Good question. I should probably check to make sure that that's happening. Oh no! It looks like he's done that Crocs thing I told him not to do.
Hitting with the Crocs before doing all the other things?
Yeah. I mean, though, he did wait to make sure that it's a safe move, so
he did
that's
cover
progress. That is progress. But he loves his Crocs so much.
You know, I've been impressed with my mentee. He's not taken ogre first actions, which is
How much time have you spent with your mentee? I'm curious.
We've played one practice game, and I've looked at a couple of his games so far.
Okay. I talked to my mentee yesterday pretty much for the first time, and I kind of reviewed a couple of his games. We mostly focused on how he needs to make sure to buy all of his Saurus for his first game.
Yes.
Because he was running the 4 Saurus start, which is not ideal.
You do need to have a chat with him about loner rerolls, apparently.
Well, I brought up the loner rerolls, but
especially with 2 rerolls, you don't want to use a reroll turn 1 if you can avoid it, and you definitely don't want to use it on a loner Croxagore.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But no, I just talked to Anki. He hopped in while Kex was playing a spin game, and he seems like a really pleasant guy.
Yeah.
Had some good chats.
He started playing Khemri, which is a rough place to start Blood Bowl.
Yes, he was telling me he had like
and then recently switched,
or like a 3-1-13 team.
Oh, so he's won since the last time I talked to him. If he's moved up from 2 wins.
But yeah, and Khemri's a hard place to start.
Yeah,
it's a very high level team. It takes a lot of solid positioning.
Yeah, I think lizards are a much more forgiving place to start, just because of their high movement. They've got a little more strength to spread along their line, and they actually have some ball carriers that are pretty good.
I'm gonna keep on the full skills on my stream just so rookies know what's going on.
Point. I know I always struggle with telling the human players apart without that.
It's mainly the main one I have problem with is the thrower looks like a catcher.
I even have a human team, and I can't tell them apart from a distance without it. Not enough to be reliable.
So far, Kex has managed to steal the ball.
Yeah, that was a good push.
And this solid so far. That was a good taking advantage, hitting the corner, scattering the ball. I don't think there's really any bad place the ball can scatter to off of that.
Did he pick it up or did he magnet hands
I think he just caught it. No, it was a pickup.
Okay.
But he did pick it up with the blitzer because it had block and it was going to be right next to the switch. I like that.
My chat is telling me that they cannot hear you, so I will attempt to figure that out.
It's not my fault this time.
No, this one's on me for sure.
I know. Last week I did that to my former mentor. I was talking to him for several minutes before someone was like, "Hey, he's muted."
Okay, I think they should be able to hear you now.
I hope so. I like the sound of my own voice, and I'm sure everybody else will share that opinion. We got some chain pushing going on.
I like it.
It's always good to see chain pushes by rookie coaches. I'm addicted to chain pushes. Like, yeah, you could walk 6 spaces, take 1 GFI, and get a hit. But what if you did 3 chain pushes and look like you know more than the other coach?
Now, the one thing I would point out here is that he's still got this Saurus completely out of the play, and I would have moved that before he took the hit against block.
And that is something my mentee Kex is actually doing really well. He's getting a lot better at turn ordering from the first couple games I watched him play. So Anki should definitely, if you can take movements first, movements don't have dice rolls, definitely want to start there.
Oh no. We're doing a skink swarm over here, I think.
Looks like he's trying to hit that Kedra.
I'm not sure about that hit.
I'm not sure about that hit, just because you could just dodge the skink away and save it from the block.
Yeah, the 3+ reroll, I think, was a much safer move. Although I don't necessarily think that basing both these pieces is any worse than basing just one of these pieces. So
I can agree with that.
I think he's okay. He's got the skinks kind of doing a screen on the right side. It's not an ideal tackle sense situation because they could just dodge between them. But he does have pieces in the right general area. There's definitely some lanes that he's left open where he could run through. But he's got the movement with the skinks that I think he could catch him.
This is looking really good for the human player, though. There's that nice wide avenue on the right, and I think they might be able to break away and outrun all the Sorai, except for the one in the middle and the Croc score. But besides that, those 4 are tied up on the left. You got another source tied up on the catcher and the blitzer.
Yeah, I might have kept my Saurus free over there rather than basing those 2 pieces, but I understand that the want of basing them. It's not a bad move because now it's harder for them to hand off to those. So I kind of like that skink move, actually.
I do too. That forces the linemen to move first, and it forces a longer path around. Now,
I think the obvious move is to just stand the ogre up.
Kex values dice rolls. Standing the ogre up first, okay. Tie up those players. Gonna take special care to look at turn ordering, because that's always a great thing to comment on the rookie's first couple games.
Now, it is possible for him to just hit that skink, and yeah, I think that's a trap. I don't think that's a good move.
Oh, Oh,
I was about to
I thought we
comment.
were gonna see. I thought we were gonna see a chain push. I got excited.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think due to the Saurus's high mobility, I think this is potentially a bad move, especially now that it's just a push. Hopefully he'll dodge away. Or just
If he was
leave
going to
that
dodge away,
piece
he
and
shouldn't
dodge.
have followed.
Yeah.
But I think the
But
thing there is that that punch makes it so you're splitting up your power, and you don't want to do that when you already have the ball against lizards. Because in my experience, the best way to deal with lizards' strength is to get them to all split up when they have to defend the ball, or when you're trying to break through. And right now,
right.
all these lizards are together. That's when lizards are most powerful at 1000 TV. And potentially even higher, but I'm not super familiar with that.
Right. Now, one thing I didn't really talk to Anki much about because we didn't have a lot of time last night is that lizards work best in pairs. So a lot of times you'll want to keep your Saurus paired together because a single Saurus on his own is easy to just mark up and get stuck. But if you have a pair of Sauruses, you can usually push one free to take your blitz. So, and you see that with the Crocs and the Saurus in the middle is that right now he can just take that Saurus hit, that reliable Saurus hit, and free up the Crocs. And then maybe a risky Croc splits. I mean, I don't hate Croc splitzes. They're risky, but they could work.
And honestly, you don't even need to blitz with the Crocs. You can just move them onto all these agile players. Give them 4+ dodges. Like if you can get the Crocs onto the ball carrier, the ball is definitely in a favorable position.
And depending on the assist you get, you might even be able to take a skink block. Well, not now. Okay, so now it's only a 1 die for the Saurus, but it is still a 2 die for the Crocs, which is tempting.
That is a based cage corner, though. And what can happen with that is... Oh, screen got moved on me. But what can happen with that base corner is you can just hit away the corner with some assist and get a straight blitz onto the ball carrier.
Especially if he's leaving all these Saurus uncovered and... Oh, that's a both down.
Yep.
Please take that, Anki. Okay.
Yeah, I think that if I think the blitz last turn should have gone on the skink basing the ogre. That would have freed up a lot more mobility for the humans to swing around to the right side of their side of the pitch.
Oh.
Which side are you watching the game from? Are you watching from the lizard side?
I'm watching from the lizard side. I can watch from the human side.
No. I'll switch to the lizard side just so we're on the same page.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have taken that hit first because it's not a super important hit.
And
what
there's
I
a
probably
lot of
would do
movement
here,
to be done with the 4 Sauri on the right side of the pitch.
right? And they need to move. You need to base the cage corners. Probably move the down Saurus in for an assist on the ogre, so that way you have an easy 2 die with your Saurus. Or over there is fine.
Honestly, I don't hate marking the cage. Because if you tie up the cage, the humans have difficulty getting defenders on the ball.
Yeah. I'd mark the cage with 2 Saurus.
There are scoring threats. There are scoring threats in the blitzer and the catcher behind the Croc score. But they are marked by several players at the moment.
Right. A handoff there could be very tricky. So yeah, I'd probably mark the ogre with 1, the cage with 2, and then move this third one around to the side. That's a good push. That makes it hard. Putting him there does make it harder to get your second Saurus back. You lose 1 square movement.
Now, I would like to just see a normal Croxagore move. Because I think the prehensile tail is more valuable than the hit.
Right. I would probably mark both of those pieces in the middle with the Croxagore now. Oh, see, he loves his Croxagore.
Yep. Gotta take your movement first, and that's why. Now, honestly, not moving the Saurus, marking the downed linemen is fine. If you
Right.
want to see what happens first, I don't hate that. Just whenever somebody doesn't have a job on your turn, you want to make sure you use them first for their movement or their stand-ups. But if you are trying to open something up for somebody to have a job, you want to save them. Hopefully we can see a good example of someone you want to give a job later and you can save them in this game.
Right. A standing Crocs with tail is much more valuable than a Crocs who's boneheaded and didn't remove the piece.
Yes.
I definitely understand wanting the 2-die, but
And I think the
and
thing is...
Lizard 1 and 9s is a huge weakness anyway, so that wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily have gone any better with the Saurus.
And I think the main thing is if you want to blitz with the Croxagore, you really want to try to set up 3-die blocks because you don't want to reroll his actions. So if you can give 2 assists on strength 3s, the Croxagore will be able to get a 3-die.
And so now, yeah, basing these skanks is kind of what we talked about before, where you're just giving up extra 2-dies that don't really benefit you. So it does make the dodge. Unfortunate, but happens. And now he's going to build a wall here between... Oh. That's actually pretty good for Anki.
Yeah, it is indeed. Anki's actually done a really good job of tying up most of the human players. Has an early player lead and is abusing it like crazy.
I think he was trying to free up the Croxagore again.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. He looks like he wants to blitz the ball.
But now he's also given his Saurus a 2-die on the Ogre, which could free up a second Saurus to come in and take that blitz. Which okay, I don't hate that.
It's a good first action. That's as safe as taking the block.
It is aggressive. If you put your skinks there, they are likely to not survive, but hopefully it'll work out.
And it's important to note that the skinks have stunty, which makes them more likely to get removed on the injury table. It's like instead of an 8 being removable, it's like a 7, isn't it? Or is it? Or is
I
it something
believe so.
else?
Yes, it's a 7 is now a KO and a 9 is now a badly hurt.
Yes.
So that went well.
I think it could have only gone better if the source managed to hold onto the ball.
Yeah, I mean that would be good, or it had bounced into the skink or something like that. It's in a good spot. You've kind of screened it off a little. I would definitely be considering either moving this free skink over to pick either not necessarily pick the ball up, but screen it off again with another piece to the bottom here, and then make this Saurus hit. And there we go.
I don't know why I try to use my pen tool in live games.
Well,
Screen gets bounced around a lot.
and then probably take this Saurus block against the lineman because it's safe-ish.
Now I would have followed up, I think, just to keep the lineman based.
Yes.
So if Kex wanted to move that lineman, he would have to take a dodge.
That said, he could be hoping that he doesn't rebase and can free the Saurus up for next turn.
That's also
Because having a lineman on a Saurus is probably better for the human player than it is for the lizard.
Is that still true when you're up 2 players?
I mean,
I think if it was even
it's hard.
players, I'm not sure. Like even players, definitely you don't want to be based 1-1. You want to have like 2 sources based on like 2 or 3 players.
True, and then the human player would want to probably disconnect, so he'd have to make a dodge instead of doing nothing. So yeah, the follow might be the right move.
I think especially just when you already have the numbers advantage, expanding on that. Oh, oh no,
And no Apo here, so that is done.
advantage is being lost.
I think I missed what he did with that skink. I think he just stood him up, or
Just a
maybe took a
regular
block.
dodge.
Yeah.
1 in
I
9
would have
failure
taken
and you're
that.
dead.
Well, I mean, I would have taken this other skink on the bottom and probably gone to pick up the ball rather than standing that skink up.
Yeah, like honestly, that could probably be your last action because I think the best case scenario there is you leave that skink on the ground and hope that Kex just leaves the blitzer there, and you're essentially expanding your strength advantage.
Why was that a 4 up? Oh, it was a 3 up. Okay. He was trying to dodge away. I was wondering if he went through the tackle zone or actually tried to dodge away properly, but it looks like he did everything right. He just didn't make
He
it.
might have gone through the tackle zone. It's hard to tell because of stunty.
That's a fair point.
But you know, I'm sure you're not very familiar with stunty. I know you've never played lizards before.
Let's see. Oh man, it's looking good
Yeah,
for
he died
Anki.
on a dodge.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you kill your own player, but sometimes it happens.
But fortunately, skink loners are pretty great.
Yeah, skink loners are not significantly worse than normal skinks, especially once you pick up an agi piece or a ball handler or something, but we don't have those yet.
You know, you just gotta be glad that it's not a source that died on those days. Because losing a source is so much harder to come back from this early in a division.
Right, and that's why I made perfectly clear that you do not start with the 4 source start, because then you're just hurting yourself. Because that's like starting with 2 Saurus that are KO'd right at the beginning of the game. Oh no.
I think that was a very fortunate series of bounces.
Yeah, actually that's
Kex?
a really good spot for Kex, yeah, the human player.
Although
he
I'm
does
not
still
sure
have
about the pickup. I
a
think
pair of
just
2 dies.
basing the ball would have been better.
I might have tried to base and then dodge away with some of these other players that are now getting punched. Although one was on tail. But
yeah, the one on tail I probably wouldn't have dodged, but
that would have been last action. I still would have taken it. Oh, Anki, stop with the Crocs blitzes, man. I know it's tempting and you want it to level up and it's the only piece with Mighty Blow right now, but just don't do it.
You blitz with the Croxagore when you don't need the blitz to work.
Right. If it's okay if he doesn't do anything. Or if you're really desperate.
Desperation and greed.
Yeah, I've been there where the Croxagore is the only thing that can make it, and you take that, but...
And I will say to Kex, you need to try and disengage a few more players. You're giving up a lot of hits, and when you're already down players, it's really gonna weigh on you.
So right there, I would have taken the Saurus hit on the player that was actually closer to the ball first to try to knock him down, to free up a potential pickup, rather than going for the outside against block first, because that is a riskier hit.
Yeah, Poikus, wild animals are a little different, and usually not recommended for rookies. So we won't talk about the merits of always blitzing with a Yeti.
Wild animal big guys are... I mean, the Yeti is probably the best one.
Chaos Mino is pretty good. I've gone into... I will argue that the Chaos Mino is pretty good. This is a heavily controversial opinion, but it's my opinion nonetheless.
But the Yeti gives Claw to a team that doesn't already have it. I don't know. It's they do different things because they're different teams. Oh no, and we're starting to see the removal catch up.
Yep.
With the based skinks.
Skinks are squishy. And
snake eyes are bad. When you get snakes, sometimes bad things happen. Oh, and he gets the pickup.
Now, I like that pickup attempt. Dodge out, just keep running. Keep running. You
Because it's
don't
Anki's
stay.
drive,
Just run.
if I was Kex, I would be going for the end zone here. Absolutely be going for the
Whenever
end
you
zone.
steal the ball on the enemy's drive, if you cannot make sure it's like 99% safe, just score. Here, the ball is now safe. You don't score here. You stall one turn and then take no GFIs and do a touchdown.
I don't know. With the 2 re-rolls here, I would be tempted to take the 2 GFIs for the touchdown immediately.
Oh yeah, a reroll wasn't used yet, was it?
Nope.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, this skink could get there, and then, well, I guess the 2 skinks are out of range. Oh, he could take us. I mean, there's a 5+ Saurus dodge that can happen.
Yeah,
He's
5+
crazy.
Saurus dodge, yeah.
I am known for the 5+ Saurus dodges. I have knocked people out of playoffs with 5+ Saurus
That's what,
dodges.
a 33% dodge?
Yes, it is a 33% dodge, and there's
Which
no
is
reroll.
better than 0.
Yeah, if it's the only piece that can reach the ball, I take that dodge.
Yeah, I think that's a great option. But also, scoring early gives more chances for these linemen to come back. Roll another KO roll. And as humans against lizards, you wanna get back into the numbers. If both those KOs come back, the humans are ahead on the attrition game.
Which is a great place for humans to be.
Because that's where lizards really struggle, is once you start losing skinks, you run out of
Oh no,
mobile
Anki,
pieces,
why
run
are
out of sisters.
Anki was super worried about this ogre for some reason. I think he thinks he can take it out, but they're really tough, and you should be focusing on the fragile human players.
And also, the ogre it's if you've ever played tabletop Warhammer 40k, it's the distraction Carnifex. It's a distraction ogre. It's there to base your players and make them do things that you don't really need to be doing or wanting to be doing.
At this point, the ogre is kind of the win more condition. Oh, there it is. He went for it.
That was the right blitz, though. That was the right blitz.
Yeah, I respect it. It didn't work, but it was a good shot.
I would have stood up the other Saurus first, though.
I would have stood up the Saurus. I probably would have moved this skink over to be near
the
ball.
You need to pressure the ball to score. It's better that it scores early and you get a couple turns back to get some punches in.
Oh, this seems greedy, but he's also got the pieces to build a screen now.
I think he's got the pieces to do it.
There's only one Saurus that can reach it, and if he just puts 2 pieces on the corners, then Anki can't do anything other than base the ball, which isn't nothing.
This is a very good first college game.
Yeah, I think they're definitely doing a better job, I think, than my first college game, which was also
my
Lizards
first college game
Humans.
was a shit show in comparison to this. Like, I remember at one point I think I fouled a gutter runner with a Chaos Warrior because I wanted SPP. I know my mentor lost a little bit of hair that day when he had to inform me that fouling doesn't give SPP.
Yes, we actually covered that last night, where he was fouling with a Croxagore on turn 14 because he thought he could get SPP from it. So, going for the aggressive lack of screen here, I'm not I mean...
I think that I would have moved the blitz, the blitzer that just blitzed, back onto the source on the ground.
Yeah, because you do want to mark
this
that.
Is a perfect, because he got rid of the only threat, and the only thing that can happen now is a double GFI base. Poikuz, this is EU.
I don't know if I like basing. You should not enjoy basing your skinks on block, because block is the most likely piece to down your skinks. I definitely like putting this skink against the catcher more than I like putting this against the block.
I would agree with that.
Because, yeah, block is basically the bane of skinks. Because
block is basically pseudo tackle.
Right. I would also not be sending that skink downfield. I would be sending that skink back to threaten a score, to force him to score rather than stall another turn.
Yes, and I covered scoring pressure with Kex yesterday. We played a practice game, and I was showing him how to bring players back because forcing the score is very important, even if you can't sack.
I liked it up until that. That was not a good move. I probably would have come around the side and just done a double base and done a blitz with one of these other Sauruses against one of these blitzers.
Now, here I would like I would honestly prefer to see a score on turn 7, so you get another KO roll as the human team.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Because,
however, yeah, and because if he scores on turn 8, he doesn't get the second roll. So yeah, this is the time to score, for sure.
But I don't think I explained that in a way that made sense. I think I worded it very clumsily yesterday when I was talking about that.
Yeah, it can be hard to focus on like which part to mentor and what to beat home.
Oh yeah, because there's so much information, you can't go over it all at once or overwhelm people.
Yeah. And I know that was part of our struggle was we didn't have a game to watch where he had played with an entire lineup of Sauruses, so it was kind of like a shit show from the very beginning.
Yeah. It's really hard to mentor. Okay, the first thing about being in this position is don't get in this position.
Yeah.
Because you have to get them to get to the proper position and then go from there. Pros and cons of stalling the TD, Poikuz ask. The pros of stalling the touchdown is that the lizards don't get a turn to hit the line of scrimmage. The cons of stalling the touchdown is you wouldn't get a second KO roll. And I think those are the two main pros and cons. I don't think there's much more beyond that.
And see that the KO just don't wake up, so it's nice to have that second shot at it for the second half. And it's nice for Anki to get these hits in. Hopefully, Anki will remember what I told him about shuffling diagonal hits and not just pushing forward, so that he can get in extra hits.
And honestly,
it's hard with
the
that
best
ogre.
thing about this game is I'm gonna keep saying this is like as a first college game, this is really nice to see. These are very promising college coachlers.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of college games, and not all of them have been this well executed and this even. Frankly, the game's been pretty even.
I've seen college playoff games that are rougher in certain areas than these.
Yeah, I mean, they're all trying the right thing. They're not necessarily working out. I think Kex has had a couple lucky dice rolls where Anki has definitely not. And I think that's been the difference so far.
And even if they're not taking the right actions, they're looking at the right areas for the most part, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Kex is bringing his players back, trying to protect him from a blitz. Yeah, it is. You know, it's a little awkward. You're forced to put someone on the line of scrimmage. I don't hate putting a blitzer there.
I'd rather put the blitzer than the catcher or the thrower. So yeah, and he chose one with 0 SPP, so I think that was a good choice.
Very good. I do think that Anki should make as many 3-die blocks here as he can. Anki, if you don't know how to make 3-die blocks, is just 2 times the strength of the target, plus 1.
So let's see. What order would I like to see? Probably this center Saurus against the ogre would take this block against the lineman first.
Yeah, lineman's most likely to be injured, so I think that's the first target. After that, I think you're fine to set up a 3-die block with the Croc Score with Mighty Blow.
Right,
But
I'd
you should
probably accept the
honestly
2-die
Mighty
first.
Blow against the lineman. Like, this is a scenario I would argue to take the Crocs hit first, because you don't have a reroll anyways.
Right, so it either works or it doesn't. and you
Yeah,
have
50-50.
backup Saurus to hit him with anyway.
Uh-oh. Oh, hey, have you
Oh.
gone over fouls? I don't think I did a good
No, but
job going over
Anki knows how to
fouls.
foul. so
This ogre
remember
should be in
Anki
trouble.
started on Kemri, so I believe he likes fouling. I'm not sure he knows we didn't cover the best way to foul or when to foul, but he willingly fouls, like without me having told him anything. So
Kex should be in trouble here. Like, I would
don't
set
know.
up a massive gang foul on this ogre.
I do not like this first Saurus move. It blocks off the next possible hit, but he's going for the 3-die, and yeah, and then he doesn't get it. So now we're down to 2 dies, a couple 2 dies. Again, that is not the direction I would have hit, but it works out. I would have taken that with the center one against the ogre to shuffle it sideways, so that you could take one of your other Sauruses to take a 2-die if that didn't work. Otherwise, you push it away from the line.
Now, and then here, I would want to blitz from behind on either the ogre or the blitzer to set
I
up
would
for a
take
gang
the
foul.
ogre, just because it doesn't have block.
There we go. And now we should... I would push the blitzer away to set up a better foul.
There's the better foul. He pushes it in the middle, and now only 2 of them don't assist. I think this is... If he's going for a foul, this is the one to do it.
Yep.
Please
and I
do it
want
on
to
a
see a
skink here.
Saurus foul, but that's because I'm biased and I want Kex to win.
Because there's always the chance the bribe doesn't work. Oh, and he gets nothing!
Oh, that's a shame.
With 4 assists. That
was a proper foul setup, though.
Yeah, no, it was a good move. And he'd asked me before the game, should he attempt to get as many fouls on the ogre as possible, and I told him no. That is not the goal for the game.
Obsession with the big guy. The ogre doesn't matter that much.
I mean, he's a lizard player who came from Kemri. We love our big guys. You play lizards in Kemri because you love big guys. So I totally get it.
It's a small step away from the dark side of playing Nurgle instead.
Yeah, I mean, he's used to the 5 strength Tomb Guardians that don't have a nega trait, so I
understand.
Bonehead probably feels real bad to him. Ooh, just roll 6s, and then you're out.
But why is he out?
I'm not sure what he's trying to accomplish here. He should
That
probably
seemed
have
like an
tried...
unnecessary dodge. Like, it
Right,
doesn't
because
accomplish anything. It's turn 8.
He could have either just left in there and passed turn, or he could come in with a good blitz against something. But yeah, there's no reason to be making these dodges, and now having to roll an armor roll and potentially an injury roll, and now you're KO'd for no benefit. So
I think Kex just forgot it was turn 8, and also I think that was a misclick.
It could be. Those happen.
Because he walked into the Saurus tackle zone and then walked out of it. But the blitzer is back, never punished. Very strange, though.
Did he get all of them back? Now he just got 2. Yeah, that's lucky for Kex for sure. And Kex is getting the ball.
Kex is up 1-0. Touchdown would essentially guarantee victory, but doesn't need to score, just needs to defend the ball.
Yeah. I don't hate this wedge setup. This is kind of close to what we talked to. I might have moved the outer Saurus up one, just to force him to spend more effort to go around, or moved him even out to the side a little more.
Yeah, like up and to the side one on both of those.
Yeah.
But this looks like a fast score setup from Kex.
Yeah.
I don't hate the look of this. Though, if Kex is going for the fast score, I would bring the other catcher to the same side you're trying to score on.
Yeah, it is a little risky if there's a bad kick. This could go disastrously, but if you're trying to put the game away, sometimes you have to take risks.
And I don't think it's a massive risk. You still have the blitzers to deal with the skink. Right. I don't see too many spaces it could land that it would be.
I probably would have put the skinks a little more in the middle, because right now they're exposed.
Yes, they are.
Anki, because this blitzer can come around and actually hit the skink where you put it here. So moving the Saurus out one more would have protected it, or just moving them one or two more in towards the middle. I probably would have put them both of them one off the center line, just so that they could reach both the edges and they were safer. That's a bad bounce for Kex. Not an awful bounce, but
yeah, can have two skinks over near the ball by turn 10. Especially if you manage to fail the sure hands pickup.
Right, and this is one of the reasons that you've got to be really reluctant to base your skinks unnecessarily, is that now if Anki wants to steal the ball, he's only got 2 players that can do it. Skink hunting is a common strategy against lizards, and so you have to protect your skinks pretty much at all times, because if you run out of skinks, you cannot pick up the ball. Like, Saurus are just not going to cut it.
That being said, against lizards, if you have a bribe, I think it is better to gang foul a Saurus over a lizard, because they're harder to remove.
Absolutely. If you there's 2 ways to beat lizards, and one of them is to remove all the skinks. The other way is to slowly whittle away down the Saurus, because for every Saurus you remove, the team gets exponentially worse. So you really have to protect your Saurus, try to avoid getting fouled, which can be hard to do. I mean, basically you're at the mercy of your AV9, and you hope it works. But if you can reliably remove a Saurus, the lizards will struggle, probably more than removing an equal number of skinks.
And that's something good to note as well. That fouling is probably the best way to remove players in the game, especially if you have dirty player. Like,
Unless you have claw.
No, fouling is more consistent than claw, because you can keep lowering the armor. Now,
Well, I mean, that's true.
Claw Palm is a different story.
Right, and fortunately our coaches don't have to worry about that quite yet, but they will one day.
One day, but not for a while. Not for a while.
And once Claw Palm players start showing up, lizards really tank. Because they don't really have a way to defend against that reliably.
Like, even against Claw Mighty Blow, like early Chaos teams that have the Claw Mighty Blow online, lizards still do pretty well again, because they have more access to block and guard. So
right,
it's really not until the 1700 TV, in my experience, that a Chaos team can really start dealing with them consistently.
Right. Once the Chaos team starts getting a dedicated killer with 3 or 4 levels, that's when things start to go downhill. And you can have an entire game against a Claw Palmer where it just doesn't go off and your Saurus don't die. So it's not a death sentence, but it's scary.
Usually that occurs when you just kill the Claw Palmer, but I agree. That can happen.
So we've definitely got scoring threats in the backfield here. Kex is very spread out. My advice to Anki would be, in a situation like this, when they're trying to get scoring threats behind you, focus on taking out the pieces that are closer to your end zone, and preventing access to them. You need a couple pieces free, like on the wings here, to deal with the ball when it comes forward, but for the most part, your blitz should absolutely be probably on this catcher that's in the front, and you should be basing these blitzers heavily.
Still super concerned with this ogre. This ogre is not the issue.
Yeah, the ogre is a distraction, for sure.
But also, definitely, before taking that Croxagore hit, you want to move these Sauruses, you want to move these Skinks. You want to base
the Croxagore is the very last thing you should be doing, especially since you've already based the ogre with a Saurus, and it's not going anywhere. No! I understand the appeal of chasing the ball, but he's so mobile, you're not going to catch him.
And what we're going to see this turn, we're going to see a pass into a handoff, I think. Or
right. You really wanted to prevent the early score more than chasing the ball down right away. Because if you prevent the ball, if you can get a couple removals and then track the ball down, we can still get a draw out of this situation. Whereas if he gets all the way down to the end zone and these pieces are still free, you're not coming back from 2-0.
That being said, the human lineman is in double GFI range for the handoff, and not in range to hand off to someone else if he gets the pass. So a slight positioning change of the lineman over, like, to the left 2 squares here, and this would be a much more intimidating position.
Is he going to plug the gap with this skink? Okay. It's a single dodge to get through. Behind the ogre and between the skink, or just blitz the skink and run through. I'm not sure I like this positioning. I would have kept the Saurus more further back so that you could actually hit these pieces, because now you've just got 3 players in your backfield, and you have no pieces in range to deal with them. I mean, you have 1 free Saurus, but I don't like this. I understand what he's doing, and it could work out, especially due to Kex's inexperience, but...
And I would say that this isn't the desired position for either of these coaches.
No, neither coach is in a great spot right here.
Regardless of what happens here, I think both coaches need to be a little bit more careful in their positioning in this sort of situation. Like,
right.
Kex, I think when the ball was way back near the end zone, on the complete opposite side of the pitch that you set up for a fast score, I think you need to pull back and try to recover the ball first.
Right. And one thing that I've learned about Wizards, after playing them for a few years, is play conservatively. Wizards are capable of trying to be the bruiser, of trying to just base with your high strength. But if you disconnect and carefully control your basing and just use your extra movement and positioning to your advantage, you're going to have a lot better consistent results than just trying to scare the opponent and bruiser your way through. So I think we need to go back to that and consider our worst case scenarios a little bit more closer than more carefully than our best case.
I do think that the threat of having 6 Sauruses base you is often better than actually basing with 6 Sauruses.
Right, especially if you can only hit one of the Sauruses on your turn because all you have is the Blitz. Those Sauruses can oftentimes take advantage of their positions a little bit better to maybe base, when they base entirely, to do it completely to their advantage. Okay, so... Oh!
I think that was a 3+ or a 4+ pass? I think that was a 4+.
Who was he passing to? I didn't see.
He was passing to the lineman inside that makeshift cage.
Okay. All right.
I don't hate that. I think that was a decent attempt. The cage was still based. It would still be exposed. But it's better than leaving it on the thrower where he was.
Now, I wouldn't have followed there, just because of the one reason that you blocked off your own 2 die. Because now if you come in, this catcher has an assist. Now you have to, in order to get that assist off this Saurus, you have to take the ill-advised one die Crocs hit.
Or you bring the source around and have to commit
Yes.
another source to the hit.
Right, but that takes extra pieces, and
Yeah, an
really you should
activation
be
economy.
pulling these Saurus back to get to the ball, or at least so that you can get them in front of the ball again, because you need all your Saurus in between the ball and the end zone. That's where you want your Sauruses. You don't want them behind the ball.
Now, I did, in our practice game, I did try to point out and warn Kex that traditional cages against lizards, you're going to end up getting surrounded and based and brought into a scrum that you will lose. But in this situation, it was kind of a forced decision.
Okay, there we go. I like that. He solved a problem that he created. That was good, Anki. I like it. I do like that reroll.
That was a little
I
greedy.
absolutely like that
was a little
reroll.
greedy.
Wait, which one? You didn't blitz the ball?
The ball's on the ground.
Oh, okay. You're right. I don't know. I thought the lineman had the ball. Okay.
No, that's where it was
like,
intended.
wait a second. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I have apparently just stroked out there
I
for a
understand your
second.
confusion now.
I was like, wait a second. No, that was a good move. That was excellent. I was still trying to get to that lineman for some reason in all of my calculations, so disregard at least a little of what I've been saying.
College coaches blitz the pieces threatening the ball. Main league coaches, why are you not blitzing the ball on the ground?
Look, I started playoffs, my one championship cup run by accidentally picking up the ball with my Blitzersaurus on the sideline, picking up the ball, making the hit, and running back. So you know, my advice is not 100% solid, but
I think one of the best ones I saw was there's a clip of the accidental double 6+ dodge on a Croxagore that ends up.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's you? Oh,
That's me.
I love that clip. I love that clip. It kills me every time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I make mistakes all the time. Don't pretend that just because they let me mentor ill-advisedly that I don't make mistakes.
Well, you know what they say. Those that can't do teach. Those that can't teach cast.
I definitely have found that casting is mostly just for my own entertainment. It does not help my focus at all, but it does make me less bored, and I'll take that.
Well, casting's so much fun. Like, you start talking about Blood Bowl, then all of a sudden you're talking about, like, ice cream and cookies, and everybody's like, what about the game? And you're like, oh, yeah, we were watching a Blood Bowl game.
Oh, yeah, something about this game. I haven't cast a bunch of other people playing. Mostly I just cast my own games. I cast a few, just when we were doing college playoffs because it was fun. And, I don't know. I always felt like the other coaches on the streams knew more than me, or like paying more attention to the deep balls and the pushes. Like, I cast a bit with Chimera and Bean, and they were always looking. Yeah, I mean, Chimera is just very technically proficient and always can see those 3 deep chain pushes, and I love it.
And now Poikuz is picking on me because I think one of my weekly rookie spotlights I do, we ended up talking about a bunch of anime rather than the game.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to talk about that? I mean, it's great.
But, you know, honestly, it's actually very surprising how quick this game is going. Usually college coaches take a lot longer on their turns because they're uncertain of what they're trying to do.
I know I am. I'm famous for running up against the clock limits and taking those last 3 seconds to do 6 actions. And that is not something people
I take
try
time
to do.
on the harder turns, but usually my turns are pretty quick as well.
Oh, and there's that Lachosaurus block. Oh, you hate it. You hate it as early source. You just don't have block.
This is a very secure lizard ball. I think that Anki needs to just do a slow grind for a couple squares over the next few turns and score for the tie, or you aggressively push for the win.
I would probably be trying to secure the draw at this point. The aggressive push for the win
It is
is
one reroll to
far from
force, so
assured. Yeah,
that's probably the more well-advised thing to do.
I do like pushing for this sideline because it will force Kex to really just run back rather than. Okay, please stand the source up next to the blitzer. Okay, there we go. Making me nervous because you need as much strength over there as you can get. And so now I think you run the ball. I don't know if you should have followed that hit. I probably wouldn't have followed that.
Yeah, I think having two Sora base one Blitzer is a little overkill at this point.
Well, yeah, but now the edge is... My main concern is that the edge is now much harder to block off and still control this catcher.
Yes, catcher is a concern.
So you can run this source up. 1, 2,
The
3, 4, 5,
controversial
6.
Source cage for the opponent. Run the skink past.
I would probably sideline cage here. You run this Saurus next to the skink all the way up next to your other two, and then run this other Saurus next to the catcher, and then put the ball on the sideline diagonally between them. He can still kind of get behind you or get in front of the ball, but it's safe. And then you can adjust from there, and you have plenty of turns to grind your way forward. And the one thing that the ball is not in its current incarnation is safe. Oh no. I don't know what the plan is here. And that always makes me nervous.
I now see what you're saying. You're saying put the Source between the catcher and the sideline.
Right.
And put the skink right next to him.
Put the skink right on the 6 there.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were saying to have the skink go to like the 10, and I was just trying to count the squares. So that's
yeah,
still
the
the
Saurus
range of this line then.
Yeah, the Saurus could only have gone
No,
to,
you're right. That's a perfect spot.
Straight. Oh! I don't hate that. However, it does provide an assist for this Blitzer, so the Blitzer could punch off, and but it does prevent him from moving backwards, so that is actually pretty solid.
Okay. The only
This lineman can make a dodge.
is the lineman on a 4+ with a reroll.
Yeah, but it's on a Crocs, so
Yeah. So that's a 4+ with a reroll. So that's the only concern I see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. I think I like my original plan better.
I think yours was great because it was outside of blitz range from the lineman at all.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and then you have to reroll that.
That is the line.
You don't have a choice.
That is the line.
And it pays off. Not punished.
That is the play I would have made as well.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Kex, but it's what you've got. I mean, honestly, I might have punched the skink first with the ochre. I don't know. Taking a 3-die against the skink.
I don't know about that one.
I'm punch happy.
That's fair. Like Mighty Blow on a skink. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's a good second play too, so you don't really lose anything by not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't hate it actually. I don't hate it.
That's a hard move. What I would have done, I would have taken the dodge with the thrower instead of the lineman, because he had the range for the dodge and it wasn't on tail. Or was he stunned?
He was stunned.
He was stunned, right? Okay, you're right. So that doesn't matter.
Otherwise, I'm pretty sure that was the play.
Yeah. Oh. More armor breaks. Good for lizards. Now, this is one of those scenarios where you need to start taking your safe moves first again and getting that Saurus back to support if you're going to stall.
Absolutely.
Because if you move this Saurus that's free right now to the other side of that thrower, he doesn't have it. He has to move through at least 2 tackles, or at least a couple squares of tackle zones. He's got 2 dodges to make. And that's significantly safer than what's happening right now. So yeah, I'd
Fortunately, I
probably
did warn Kex that this is a very hard first matchup for humans.
yes,
So, like,
yes.
definitely don't feel bad about drawing here, and especially don't feel bad about losing if it didn't go this way.
And my chat is reminding me that this might be a good time to consider handing off to a sword if you're Anki and you're accepting the draw. Because
That's a decent point.
it takes several turns to do it. So then I would move the skink up to the thrower, and then the Saurus all the way forward.
Now,
But I don't like where he put that Saurus next to the thrower, because it still leaves a diagonal out towards your skink.
I would say that you got to be a little careful in this position still, because you also don't have a reroll.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have 5 turns but no rerolls. So you probably
if there was
just take
still
the
a
score.
reroll, I think it'd be much more advised.
Yeah, I
But
think you take
definitely,
the score here.
if you want to greed, go for it.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
a 1 in 3 to get the ball every turn.
he's had a depressing number of injuries, because you need that at least one injury for that MVP lizard. Okay.
Catcher's coming up to assert pressure.
Yeah, let's see that lineman come back for Kex, because that is
Absolutely.
unbased right now.
I would like to see that lineman come back and cover the other corner of the pitch, so that the skink can't just swing to the left side.
I honestly might take the lineman and double GFI blitz that skink.
I don't hate that either. I think
Because
the
you
only
wanna-
problem with that is if you do that, the skink with the ball can just run to the left side.
I mean, that's fair. But he'd have to make the same number of GFIs as you, and I think anytime you're making the ball carrier make GFIs, I feel good about that. That's unfortunate, but you got rerolls.
Yeah, you got to reroll that though. I think don't fall.
I'd push it sideways. I'd push it towards the sideline, because that traps it more than the pushing it that way.
Push it towards the sideline, and don't push it closer to the ball, I think.
Because now it has a single dodge to head to the left side, whereas if you push it straight towards the sideline, it would have to use 3 movement for the same distance. My chat is saying that they prefer just to score last turn, because they don't like playing for a draw with 5 turns to go.
I don't like playing for draws either, so I'm biased. I think I would agree with them.
Yeah. I probably would have gone for the draw, but tried to grind it out a little more, just because.
I think that going for the draw is the safe thing, but I like to play to win divisions.
Yeah. That's
but
fair.
In this position, the humans are up on rerolls. You have 0. But I don't know. You still have a massive strength advantage.
Yeah.
And you still have
I don't like the lack of skinks that he's at right now, and I think that the humans definitely can out agi and pick up the ball. And so if you kick back to the humans, I have trouble seeing the Saurus, the lizards stop them, and I'd be worried about
Kex
losing the
has
2-1
forgot
grind.
completely about the bribe, I think. I don't think he realizes that he has one.
Yeah.
Send off.
Nice.
How dare
Totally
the bribe
worth it.
work? I think that score was forced. I think that the blitzer was in a great position. It was able to reach both corners of the field. So Sabias Seasick was in a great spot.
Yeah. And the problem with playing for the draw, as my chat points out, is that there's so many turns left, and if you only stall for a few turns, then humans, like they are now, are in a great position to come back and score in 2 turns.
Yes. But
so now it's kind of awkward.
I did like the very. What am I trying to express here? Sorry, there's a motorcycle outside. I can't think.
I hear it. I hear the motorcycle.
Oh, that's picking up. Wonderful.
Just when you're talking, it's okay.
But I was watching a game earlier today. I think it was Mongooses Loose was playing, and his opponent had a very passive defense, and it just caused a tie because he just was not aggressive, not playing for the ball, forcing the opponent to do something, and that's not what we've seen here. We've seen very active defenses, and I think that's great
Yeah.
because, like, the Kex managed to steal the ball off of that, just asserting pressure.
Yeah. And Lizards are very strong on defense too, so that's always something to remember is that the odds they have a better, I think, than average chance of stopping this than most teams, just because they are fast and they do have the strength advantage on a single player. I wish they had more skinks right now because they're the best screening threat you can ask for, but that's what happens. Skinks die. You base you base them with your skinks and they don't come back.
Especially once you give them sidestep, they're really annoying.
Yeah, and he took one level, or no, I guess he took one level on a different team. But we've kind of covered. Oh, another bribe. That's great news for Anki.
It's much easier to use a bribe on defense than on offense.
Yeah,
because you don't have.
And it doesn't do Kex any good. Because having 2 bribes is not better than having 1 bribe. Yeah.
Running the scoring threats first, taking the movement actions. Good turn.
As Anki, I would have gone for the setup that I showed you that completely blocks off the side, the anti-speed setup, where you put a Saurus 2 from the side and then 1 just inside the white lines, so that he can't just straight run through. He'd have to blitz through and then come through. It might not have. It would mean that one of your Saurus got blitzed and then they ran through, but he'd have to spend at least 2 players to get through that. Probably 3 players.
It's somewhat forgivable though, because humans are weird in that they're a hybrid team, and that's harder to identify what you're supposed to be doing against them if you're not familiar with humans.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, Anki's been very focused on the Ogre, and I think he's been treating the humans as a bash team, when this game they're like pseudo-elves.
Yeah, I think he's worried about the block, he's worried about the Ogre, but yeah, humans are in a weird spot where they can be both. A lot of teams don't have that, but this team does. So yeah, again, we're going to see this skink get hit. Fortunately, it's okay. I hope Kex doesn't follow. Good job. But now, I mean, he's in a good spot where he could completely kind of like surround this Saurus and keep him from running back at your catcher. And now it's much harder to hit that catcher.
That said, squares. It looks like that thrower is pretty well protected, and there are a lot of threats that are able to score. So it's going to be very hard to either go for the ball or stop all the scoring threats. So this is, I think, a pretty solid positioning for the humans.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, I don't think it's going to be as hard as you think. If you take the left lizard, and you take the skink and the Saurus around and just sandwich that catcher, and you bring this inner right Saurus back in 1 GFI, you can hit that catcher, and then use your free Saurus to base the Splitzer and the lineman. I think you can have a pretty good method at shutting them down and hitting all the pieces that you need to hit.
Yeah, I just had to see how this one plays out. I think this is an interesting position, if nothing else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a good example of the Lizard scramble defense. Holy crap! Thank God we have movement 6.
Yes. But it's also a great example of playing pseudo elves with humans. Like this is, I think, because this is similar to what a high elf team would do.
Yeah, and actually, Agi, early on especially, is one of the teams that I struggle with the most, and I still struggle with them just because it's hard to stop them sometimes. No matter what you do, sometimes they just dodge through. But I definitely think that being aggressive towards the pieces in your backfield has served me the best against this sort of attack.
And I agree. I find myself doing the same with regardless of what team I'm playing. Just the scoring threats are the most important thing to get rid of, because you can make it hard to score, by pressuring the ball and screening off the middle. But at the end of the day, if they don't have a scoring threat, they can't score.
Right. I kind of think that because the pass didn't work earlier, Anki still is kind of discounting it. Because I don't think that lineman was enough of a threat to justify that making that the blitz. I also would not have taken that action first, considering you have all these very safe Saurus movements that need to happen. I
And
don't
having
hate
the
this.
rerolls.
I definitely don't hate that. If you're going to be aggressive and make sure you have the pieces to support it. I kind of hate that.
That skink just gets punched.
Yeah, that skink is... Oh, no. You need to focus on the pieces in the backfield, Anki. Pieces in the backfield. Okay. Again, I would have sandwiched him on either side of that piece so that it was a much harder dodge out rather than
But this
basing
is
him on the
also a
diagonal.
great example of when you have a massive strength advantage, abuse it.
Yeah. But now he's got so few lizards back here that he has to deal with 3 humans with only 2 Sauruses. And
If the humans ever break through, this is awful. This is
I mean,
not going to be a fun result.
yeah, I would have liked to have 2 Sauruses commit here against these 2 players because then they can assist each other. Now it's still a 1 die with block. And you have to base both of them if you can. So I think that's the best he could have done. I definitely would have preferred seeing this Saurus against the Ogre come back to base these 2, the lineman and the Blitzer.
Good hit. And that is an important action. You basically have to take that first.
Yeah, to free up that side because that.
Now you have to figure out what you're going to do with the thrower.
Now it's kind of nice that skink didn't die or wasn't KO'd because his body is still blocking a square. So that's a square forward movement gone if he wants to run forward and pass.
And do you need to run forward and pass, though? The thrower's free and all the other Sauruses are tied up.
I mean, I wouldn't want to leave him there. I don't know.
No,
where
you
put
definitely
him.
run him forward, but I'm not sure if you need to pass this turn yet.
Yes, you absolutely do need to, because otherwise, if you leave these pieces here, you take this Garrettlu the Monk Saurus in the middle that's basing the 2 blitzers, you hit the left side, you free up that back left Saurus, and you have the blitz.
Now, I think I would have freed one of those players before doing the pass.
Yeah.
The pass failed anyways.
Oh, man. Okay. That's good for Anki. That's really good for Anki. But now you still don't have enough pieces back here to deal with these guys.
That's also a good spot for the ball for Kex, though.
Yeah, I think it's better
up.
for Kex.
I think it's much better with that catcher right there. 1 failed action, and there's 3 players that could potentially score here.
Nice experience.
Just a badly hurt. Gonna have that blister for next week. That's good.
Yep. I mean, I definitely would not be taking that punch, and especially
that's not an important
first.
hit.
I would, if you want to free up a piece, I would take the other blitzer hit, and then free up your other Saurus, because now your other Saurus is still stuck, where he could have blitzed back and maybe provided an assist against the Ogre, and then the Crocs could have hit the Ogre, and then you could maybe have freed up this other Saurus to come around and tie something up. Because as part of Lizard, this is one of the most important things, is thinking how to free up your Sauruses.
And right now, this is a game hanging on a knife's edge. Three pluses for victory for the humans.
Yeah, this is not a good position to be in for.
That's a dodge.
I honestly might have taken a blitz here.
I think you should have pushed towards the end zone.
Yeah, I might have taken a blitz here.
Take longer to get to the ball.
Just because then you can push him and then base the ball in the corner and make it harder to push forward.
Yep, I agree.
Especially since you don't have a good blitz now because all your pieces are based.
But I think Anki's a little fortunate that none of his dice are failing on these turns where he doesn't have a reroll.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, we've had a few unfortunate things. The bad part about Wizards is that they're a 1 in 9 machine for the first season.
That's not good.
Speaking of being a 1 in 9 machine,
Because I think you just don't take that block. But no,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a block hit anyways. I don't know.
I mean, I think you force them to roll
But
dice rather
this
than
should be
roll your own dice.
nothing else should happen this turn. What should happen this turn is you pick up the lineman.
Oh no! Oh,
I was gonna say
Anki.
what you should have done is picked up the lineman and based the Saurus and hit with the blitzer and then picked up the ball. Because that's a 1 in 36 block versus a 1 in 9 dodge.
Yeah, on the previous turn I would have left that Saurus there and then taken the skink and dodged over and based the blitzer. As much as I hate that, just to get an extra piece, extra based. I would have pushed away from your Saurus because now
should
you
not
could have
take
freed
the
up the
Croc Score
Saurus.
hit. You have to deal with the ball first. Should not be taking that hit. You need to deal with the ball first.
Yeah. Well, that Crocsagore hit could have pushed the Ogre into an empty square by your skink, and then your Saurus would be free to come deal with the ball. So I really don't like that push.
But also,
I know you're trying to
Saurus
maximize
to
it.
deal with the ball already.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
nothing
there's a
else, the
surf here.
Saurus should go
There's
and
a surf
stand next
here.
to the catcher.
No, absolutely. Good surf. Good surf.
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh no! Dude,
What
stand
an
up.
ending though.
Stand up.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
no,
I mean, I
you
guess
didn't
that
have
was-
to deal with the ball first. It's turn 16.
I guess. We missed it. Oh, and anytime you get an MVP Saurus, that is pure gold, and that is your best way to level them. So
That's also
congrats.
a very good MVP on a blitzer.
Yeah, and he's just badly hurt, right? So he's okay.
Yeah, just badly hurt. Just one skink death, not the end of the world. It didn't get MVP.
Right? Because especially as Lizards, because as you stay at 11 players for so long, you don't really have anything to burn money on other than appos and rerolls early on.
Both teams
So
got 10 SPP. That's not bad for a first game.
yeah, so
Especially
as long
when there's
as
not many tools for leveling on either team yet.
yeah, I hope that both teams can afford an appo now. I don't know if humans start with one. I know
no, they
Wizards
do not.
definitely don't. But I hope Anki got at least a 3 on his winnings so that he now has an appo. So that was a good game.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to cast. Thanks for joining me. That was great.
Yeah. Good luck with your mentee. I hope our mentees come out on top of the division.
Oh yeah, it'd be great to see. I'm excited to see where they go from here.
All right. Have a good night.
You have a good one. So, that was a lot of fun casting with Tweedle. I'm about to hop off though. Hopefully, everybody else enjoyed this. I'll have a good night.